Hello and welcome to a very special live stream. I've never done anything quite like this before. So today I'm going to be taking you behind the scenes of a short film that I recently created for the 48-hour film competition here in New Zealand. So today, and I've just got my notes because I wanted to make sure I cover everything off. Today I'm going to be talking to you about how I took the elements that I was given, which was a genre, a technical shot to include, and an object, and crafted a story around those. And then what tools and gear that I used, and I'm going to show you them actually because I have them here. And then I'm actually going to premiere the film, so you get to see it, which hasn't been allowed to be put online until after the competition was screened on TVNZ. So I can see some people tuning in. Awesome. Can you give me a hands up? Hello, you can hear me. Hey, where you're tuning in from, just so I know. First, I'm just going to really quickly explain what the 48-hour film competition is because it really shows you what you're able to accomplish in such a short amount of time. So it's an annual competition here in New Zealand that the organizers give you a genre, like I said, a technical element, often a character or a characteristic, a line of dialogue, also an object, and essentially you have to craft a video or a video story in 48 hours using these elements. So that's 48 hours to script, film, edit, and get the film out and submitted to the competition. So for those of you who know anyone in the film industry, that's not a lot of time to put a film together, which allows you to be really creative in how you think and really efficient. Now, obviously, this was the lockdown edition, so the additional rule was you could not leave your bubble. So you had to only film within the confines of your bubble. Now, first, I want to sort of explain how we did this. So you may have seen this photo here on social media. This is my wife who kindly acted in it, and this is for your benefit because if I had to play the main role, which I thought I was going to, it would have been terrible. So very fortunate that she also gave up her time, which was, free time when our son is napping during his 30 to 45-minute naps. And this is typically when I work on my business. So we had a really finite time in order to get anything done. It was just worked around my son's naps, basically. So that being the first point is that you can make a film in finite time. But for us, we had to let go of our perfectionism and keep our story kind of fairly simple in the way we were telling it. And this year, I've competed many years, we decided to work the 48 hours around our life, not our life around the 48 hours. Sorry, I hit the microphone. Typically, when I did this prior to using a smartphone, I'd get about 3 hours sleep all weekend. And then when I started using a smartphone, I got full hours, 6 to 8 hours of sleep a night, but still, filmed or created the film during the whole days. So this time I was really pushing, my boundaries into how I'll create a film in what we did, just 5 hours over the 48 hours weekend in tiny slots of time when my son was sleeping. So we didn't have costumes, we didn't have makeup, all we had was a phone, pretty much, and a willingness to make it happen. So I'm going to start explaining how we got these elements. Firstly, Friday night, we got given our elements at 7 p.m. We got given sci-fi as our genre, and the elements were an arc shot. So an arc shot is a shot that kind of arcs around, okay, the most famous being in Carrie, at the end when she's dancing, and it just goes around her in a 360. So I got sci-fi, arc shot, and a photograph was the object we had to include. Now, let me be totally upfront and honest, things did not go smoothly from the beginning. In true Frankie style, which is me, I should put up my little logo here so people know who I am. I got given the genre, and I got given sci-fi, and my brain went Star Wars. I'm a Star Wars nerd, so sci-fi to me means Star Wars. And I got all pent up and was like, nope, not competing. Can't make Star Wars. No, not doing it. So I don't know about anyone out there, but please feel free to put like a yes in the chat box. But do you ever when you come up to a barrier, you're just like, nope, peace out, not doing it. Because I guess that's how I approach things. And then I need to take time to deal with that and get past it. Like in all areas of my business, things happen and you go, nope. And then you have to sort of figure out a way to get around it. So that was me. I was like, no, not competing. And I was in a bit of a huff. and it was going to take me time to deal with this. But my wife, who knows me better than anyone, realized that I did really want to participate and researched, well, what does sci-fi actually mean? And when she realized it, or found out that it was could mean time travel, I was like, okay, I can make that work. I'm pretty sure I have an app on my phone that can create some kind of transporter effect. So here's how that played out. Once I was like, yep, I think I can make this happen, you know, we were away. So from bed, on Friday night, I had an idea in mind, and we kept this really simple, and it had no dialogue, just pictures. It was based around my current experience, which my current experience of the world is lockdown, okay? So keeping it, you know, really relevant and really easy to conceptualize. I also tested out from my bedside table an app that is called Action Movie. So I'm just going to bring that up for you here, okay? So this is the app. And I had a feeling this would give me an ability to create some kind of transporter effect. So I did some tests from the bedside, which I can show you is this. Oh, bummer, which one was it? So I just did a little test from my bedside, testing on a lip balm. Could I make this app work to do some kind of transporting effect? Then on Saturday morning, and just to show you, I created a mini storyboard, which I typically don't do storyboard, but because there was no voiceover or no dialogue in this, I actually created pictures. Okay. Okay, so that was my plan. I had my plan, and now it's just about making it come to fruition the next day. So on Saturday morning we filmed everything we needed in the space of 50 minutes, which was my son's nap that morning. I just used my iPhone 11 Pro Max, okay, and this rig, okay, so this is called the Beast Grip, okay, and really all it does is allow you to attach your phone to a tripod as one thing, but it makes your phone steadier, because it makes your phone bigger. The bigger it is, the steadier it'll be to hold. You won't have to worry about so much shakiness from your hand, okay? So that's why I used this rig. I didn't actually use a tripod. All was handheld, but, oh, did it have an error loading on that video? That's a shame. Not to worry. Sorry, yeah, didn't use a tripod, just handheld using this. It also allowed me the option to attach a light should I need to, and a lens. Now this is a sort of a more expensive rig. I've got putting a link in the description for you with a budget rig that a lot of my students end up getting rather than the more expensive one. Now I did use a light for my first shot, and that was to provide some extra light on my wife's face, as you'll see when I premiere the film. Because the light was coming from one side in terms of where the sun was, and so I needed just a little something to help even stuff out, and so I used this. This is called the Amaran F7, amazing light, use it for so much stuff. The other thing I had to consider, first, this rig also allowed me to attach, like I said, a lens. There was one additional thing that I used, which is a little macro lens, which allows you to get really close to a subject, and I did this for one shot. So you'll see that once we get into the film. Now, most shots ended up being 1 to 2 takes. There was the occasional 3 or so many takes because of the fact that that Action Movie app that I was telling you about earlier requires you to sort of make the effects while you're filming. So I had to do it on site. So it took a few takes to get it right, basically. Now, I also knew that we could only record in the morning, partly because of my son's nap, but the direction of the sun. It was earlier in the morning, so by the afternoon the sun would have been too bright, everything would have been overexposed and harsh shadows and all this thing. So it's about understanding the light that I had to use, and I wanted a darker feel for my story. But given it, you know, it was all on my phone, the cool thing is I could edit as I went along to make sure that the shots were matching up. That's the really cool thing about editing on your phone, is you can do it as you're filming stuff. Now, just going back to my notes, so I'll make sure I cover everything. So I started after we filmed in the 50 minutes of my son's first nap, we started the bulk of the editing during the next nap. And this is on Saturday. And I used an app called LumaFusion. Now I'm going to show you, it's an amazing professional editing app for iPhones. Some of you may have heard of it. And I'm going to show you a quick snapshot of what that looked like. Hang on a second here. Okay, I'm going to take this off now. Okay, so this is inside the app. As you can tell, it's quite advanced. There's a lot happening here. We've got our video. We've got lots of audio tracks. I'll talk a little bit about audio in a minute. And we also have the next image, which will show more of the audio as well. So there's a lot of layers. You can do a lot of kind of effects with sound. Really amazing app. So, right, we started editing. We filmed, we've edited. We've started editing anyways. Just before bed, we did a thing called some quick ADR and Foley. Now, these are film terms. ADR, all it means is automated dialogue replacement. And so what that means is that you're replacing the dialogue in the film with stuff recorded afterwards. Now, as I said, all I ran around with was handheld this and this. I didn't have a microphone, and I had one line of dialogue that was in the film. And so I had to film that afterwards and put it back in. Now, this is not something I recommend for people who are beginners. It takes a lot of practice to get ADR right because you need an actor who can do the same tone and the same speed in order for it to match up. And thankfully, my wife has now appeared in 4 of my films, so she's getting more and more experienced. But it's a cool technique to get sound if you screwed up. And the other thing is Foley. So Foley is merely the reproduction of sound effects. So I need to recreate her walking, and she walks on 3 different surfaces, as you'll see in the film. Her breath, she takes a breath in at the beginning, rustling a newspaper. And we recorded all these voiceovers and the sound effects in our wardrobe. There's a reason behind that. And I used the YouTube sound effect library for a few of the walking ones as well. So we've filmed, we've started editing, we've recorded extra audio. Now on Sunday morning, I finished editing the film during my son's morning nap. And here's where I added a filter to it to give it a darker tone, to give it more sci-fi effect. Okay, so let me just show you what that looked like. Okay, so this is the shot before, okay? One of the shots, you may have seen it from the movie poster that I created. That was the beginning shot, and this is the after shot. Oh, whoops, wrong one. After shot. Here we go. So we had before, after, okay? And then here's another example. So we've got the before, and we have the after. So that's when I started adding in that effect to give it a better style that I thought was more sci-fi-y, giving that bluer tone. So, and then in the afternoon, because I had to wait for my son's next nap to be able to fit anything else in, is when we submitted it online. So that's it. There's 5 hours over 2 days, split up into like 45-minute chunks, kind of, throughout the 2 days. That's how long it took us to make the film. So, just to recap, refilmed, edited during my son's nap on my phone in the space of 5 hours with minimal gear. I think that's really important to note, is that as long as you know how to use what you have, you can actually come out with some really nice looking stuff. So the only additional gear, the minimal gear that I used was just a light for one scene as I showed earlier, and the little macro lens as you see. So who, and I'll wait until people say yes, wants to see the final film? Give me a yes in the chat box. It hasn't been able to be put online until just recently because of the competition rules. But if you want to see everything that I just spoke about, explained how it came together in action, then let's do it. Give me a yes in the chat box and I will put the film up. Oh, scary, scary. Because no one else has seen this, you see, except for me and my wife. Okay, hang on a sec. Janine's like, yes, I want to see it. Okay, let's do that here. Okay, ready? Are you ready for it? Okay, here we go. Hopefully you'll be able to hear it. All right, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed that. But here is the most important part. So, yes, I created a film, but what did I learn? Okay, because when you're creating videos, you always learn how to do things better, right? So, this is what I learned from the experience. Understanding how to use the tools that you have in the situation that you're given. This is like using your phone, using lighting, using audio, using the background. The more you build on these skills, the better and faster you're able to create videos. Planning is key, okay? I knew exactly what the film was going to look like before I even started filming it, okay? Otherwise, that's when you spend hours of time trying to figure things out as you go along because you're not really sure what you're doing or what it's going to end up looking like, okay? Because you don't know what you're trying to achieve with it. You have to understand how to tell a story and a message from both the story side of things as well as the technical side of things. You do need to let go of perfectionism, okay? And basically, all things are possible, okay? So I was given a genre that I was like, nope, not doing it, can't do it. And we came out with a film that I thought was really impressed. And there's a lot of elements that go into that in order to make it look and sound as good as it does. So some of you that may be watching right now may be business owners, and obviously you're not going to be making lots of short films. But if you would like to learn how to make high quality videos with your phone, then I do have a free training next week. I'm going to put a link in the description, and I'll even put a link in the chat box right now. Some of you actually, I think, have already joined this training, which is awesome. Hang on a sec. Might help if I had that ready. Okay, I'm going to put a link in the description now. Cool. Now, while many of you may believe that anyone can make a video, and I understand why you would think that, is because, you know, Apple and Samsung's are making amazing phones. There are these quality cameras that are now in your pocket. But the thing to remember is that, unfortunately, most people who think, yeah, I have a phone, I can make a video, that's when they end up putting in a lot of effort, thinking videos take too long, videos don't work, videos, you know, too hard. They're putting in heaps of effort. It's just unfortunately misplaced effort. And I don't want that for people. I want people to be able to understand how to harness that phone to make amazing quality videos. So don't misplace your effort. Please join my training next week. Hopefully you can see the link in the chat box. I'm not sure if that ended up working. I'll put it in the description as well. It's all about mastering filming with your phone for videos for your business in just 5 days. It's a 5-day training that's happening next week. And I think the link didn't end up working, so I'm just going to grab it here. So just before I go, does anyone have any quick questions? There's the link there before I go and have my lunch. There we go. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the film. Nice and short, 2 minutes, because we had to keep it under 3 minutes. And I hope you'll be joining me for my training next week, where you can learn how to harness your elements, how to properly use your phone. There are so many things that people just pick up their phone and don't realize they've got to change certain settings and all kinds of things in order to make sure it gets the best quality image. Love to share that with you in my free training next week. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will catch you next week in my training and see you again soon. All right, see you later.